Hello, and welcome to episode 41 of the Sarah Seams podcast. My name's Sarah. I'm coming to you from Columbus, Ohio, where I live with my partner Troy and our cats Alex, Moo, and Elsie. Today is Sunday, March 30th. I'm looking at my notes because I have no idea what day it is. Sunday, March 30th, and it is a very rainy, very gross day here. So it has been raining occasionally really hard. So if you suddenly hear like rain on the window, that's what that is. It is a stormy, gross day today, but a good day for knitting. So this channel is just where I share all about my crafty projects. It's mostly knitting, but I like to sprinkle in some other fiber crafts as well. However, I think today it is exclusively knitting, so I hope you're ready to see so many projects. This is going to be covering my knitting for the past month. So once a month I do these regular sit down long form podcast episodes and share all my projects with you. And then in between, on the Fridays in between, I've been doing a Friday fiber chat every week, which is just like a short bite-sized episode, like 10 to 20 minutes, usually around that 15-minute mark, where I just talk about something fiber related or a trend that's been on my mind. So the three that I did in March, I thought I would just quickly share in case you hadn't seen them, were knitting mistakes. So I cut caffeine out of my diet in early March and it resulted in a little bit of a lack of focus, just kind of learning how to focus again without caffeine. But in that first week especially, I made several pretty big knitting mistakes. So if you're interested in seeing how I resolved those, check out that video and I'll have these linked below and maybe a card up here as well. The second one was tackling my mending pile. So I had a big old stack of mending and alterations that needed to be done. So I tackled those. If you're interested in that, feel free to check that one out. And the last one was a trend alert. So a trending color. I talked all about butter yellow, how it's trending, where that trend kind of came from, the runway inspiration that's inspiring it, as well as like celebrity trends and all of that. So, and how yarns that you could use and how to use that color if it's not a great color for you. Like for me, yellow is not one of my best colors, so how I would use it. So yeah, if you're interested in those are the Friday Fiber Chats from the past month. Also, if you would like to follow me on Instagram or add me as a friend on Ravelry, those links are below in the description box. And I don't do super detailed show notes anymore just because it was taking a little too much time for me. But if you have any questions at all about a pattern, a designer, a yarn, anything, please feel free to leave a comment and I will let you know, get back to you ASAP. So I think that's all the admin out of the way. I have so many projects to share with you today. I think I have 6 finished objects, 8 or 9 whips, and some acquisitions, and a little bit of chat at the end. So let's dive right into it, and we can start with what I'm wearing, which is also a surprised finished object that I had not cast on the last episode. So the backstory here is that I was watching Tashi at, I think it's Stitches and Starlight on YouTube, which is an excellent podcast if you don't watch them. And they knit the Felia cardigan, which is what this is, by Lenon. And you know, when this pattern came out, I thought it was really pretty, but it wasn't something I felt like I wanted to knit right away. But when Tashi knit theirs, I was like, oh yeah, I need to knit that right now. So I was knit-fluenced to knit the Felia cardigan, and it was a really quick knit. I think like a little over 2 weeks. So I'll put in a video here of me wearing it. As I said, this is a pattern by Lenon. It comes in 3 sizes. It has a lot of positive ease. So I made size 2, which came out to about a 73-inch circumference. So lots of flexibility with ease in this pattern. And mine did come out just about exactly right to the recommended size. I made the extended version, so I added 1 extra repeat in the body, which instructions for that are in the pattern, but the version that's pictured on Irene in the pattern is the cropped version. So I knew I wanted mine to be more like hip length, just this super cozy like shrug to throw over. I think the lace is really beautiful. I think this yarn worked really well for it. So this yarn is really special and I'm glad I was finally able to use it in a project. So I picked this up the first year that I went to the Wool Gathering, which is a smallish yarn festival held in Yellow Springs, Ohio every year in the fall. And I went in 2023, and this was the first yarn that I bought there. And it is from Hill and Hollow Farm. It is their Aran Weight wool. It didn't give like breed specifics, but I would guess there's some long wool in here because it's very lustrous. It has a little bit of a prickle. It's definitely a woolier wool, but it is naturally dyed with indigo, which I have always loved. I got to try some indigo dyeing when I was in college, and there's just something kind of magical about that process, and I just thought that it was beautiful. You can see, maybe if I stand up, there are some like natural variations in the color where it's lighter or darker, and I just think it has a beautiful depth, and I love the shade. Yeah, so it was a 2-ply also, a 2-ply Aran Weight, so the lace blocked out really nicely. 2-plies are great for lace because the 2-plies kind of oppose each other and they really open up those lace holes. This yarn is a little bit on the heavier side and it's very drapey, so I think a lot of people have knit this in either a woolen spun or like a chain net, kind of more light airy yarn, which would also be really nice, but I do really like it in this yarn. Like I said, it has a nice cozy like weight and drape to it. It is a little prickly, like I said, I can feel it a little bit on the back of my neck, but I'm hoping with wear it will soften up. I'm sure that it will. And right now I'm just wearing it over like a spaghetti strap dress, but I think I could easily wear it over a t-shirt or something that had a little more coverage, and that would help with that as well. So yeah, this is the Felia cardigan. Quick knit, very fun knit. I'd highly recommend it. I think it's going to be a really great transition piece. Even though it is Aran weight, it feels light and open because of all the lace, and also it has just like there's not a lot of sleeve to knit, but because of how oversized this is and the drop shoulder, I would say it's like not quite even a 3/4 length sleeve on me, but it comes about halfway down my forearm. So yeah, it feels like a nice light layer, perfect for spring, which was why I wanted to knit it so bad. And I was waiting for the perfect project for this yarn, and I think this was it. So really, really pleased. Definitely recommend the pattern. I really like Irene's patterns. Some of them are kind of like on the edge of being truly size inclusive, but I would say this one, with just how much positive ease there is, gives you so much flexibility. I would highly recommend it, and a very fun knit. So yeah, that's the Felia cardigan, my surprise finished object, surprise even to myself. But yeah, let's dive into the rest of the finished objects, starting with socks, of which I have 3 pairs of finished socks this month. So the first one are my Corinthian socks, and I'm so happy to have these finished. I think I was working on these for 6 months. When I added them as a finished project to Ravelry, I saw that it had been 6 months since they started them, so that's telling you something. These were originally a test knit for Laura McLean, who is Sunday Morning Knits, also a great podcast if you are looking for some new podcasts. She's like a very calming presence. I think all of her projects are very pretty, and I test knit these for her. I think they're beautiful. They're inspired by Corinthian columns, so you can see there's like the fluted column look, and then there's the lace that kind of mimics the detail at the top of the column as well. And the yarn is gorgeous. The yarn is Rainbow Sprinkles from Camellia Fiber Co. I think this is amazing yarn. Like, look right here. There's like the whole rainbow in like 5 stitches. It's so cool. So I'm really happy with how they turned out, but knitting these for whatever reason was a bit of a slog for me. I finished the first one for the test knit, and then I just totally ran out of steam, and it took me like probably 4 months to finish the second one. It's just a lot of 2x2 rib. Something about this yarn which is very fine. Yeah, I don't know why it was a slog, because I think they're gorgeous, but very happy to have them finished. And then this year also I'm making a tiny sock version of all my finished socks to make a little sock garland at the end of the year for the holidays. So here's the tiny sock. This is the tiny tree sock pattern by Summer Lee, and this is just the very basic one. This little sock pattern actually has so many options. So this is the heel flap and gusset version. As you can see, there is a little tiny heel flap and gusset. There's also an afterthought heel option, and there's also like instructions to do stripes and color work and all of this. So very fun, useful little pattern. I've pretty much memorized it at this point. Okay, next are a pair of classic DK socks. So I'm also working my way through Summer Lee's book, The Sock Project, and I'm on to the DK chapter. So I think I had started these on the last podcast, but the yarn I'm using is by the Red Pansy. I picked this up at Indie Untangled, and it was their Indie Untangled exclusive colorway called October Twilight, and it is just their classic DK superwash base, and here they are. I think this yarn is so gorgeous. It's like these light periwinkles and these rusty browns. Did a little bit of a micro stripe, which was kind of cool. And these are just a truly basic DK sock. Oh, sorry, I just kicked the camera. Oh my gosh, I'm a little crooked, aren't I? Oh gosh. Okay, I'm gonna fix that, hold on. Okay, hopefully that's better, sorry about that. I think I was saying you just start knitting and it ends up having a rolled hem. So they've got this little rolled edge at the top. I knit a pretty long leg on these, heel flap and gusset, foot, and a wedge toe. Yeah, I think I was able to use almost all of this yarn, which was great. And I've got a really nice cozy pair of DK socks. So for the tiny version of these, I had to adapt the tiny tree sock to use DK. So here's the fingering weight version, here's the DK weight version. As you can see, it is a little bit bigger, but I basically figured out for like a standard sock for me, a fingering weight sock has about 64 stitches and a DK weight sock has 48 stitches. So the DK weight sock has about 75% of the stitches of the fingering weight sock. So I kind of took that math and logic and applied it to this pattern. So I won't, say, I think this is a free pattern. I can't remember, so I won't say specifics, but I used that math to figure out about how many stitches I needed to cast on for the DK weight version and just knit the tiny sock. So yeah, that one's really cute as well. And the last pair of socks, oops, just throwing my labels on the floor, no big deal. The last pair of socks for this month are my Summer Lee also Colorwork Cuff Club socks for March, which were this really cute kind of daisy motif, I was calling it, kind of like a retro floral. So yeah, I knit these as a gift for a friend. We are going to visit some friends in New York City in May, and I wanted to knit socks for them. So these are for one of my friends. These are definitely her colors. I just kind of went stash diving for these. This yarn, unfortunately, I don't have the ball band anymore because I used it in my D20 sweater, but I picked this up at the Michigan Fiber Fest. It's really pretty, like a creamy base with pink and yellow and a little bit of a brown kind of neutrally speckle, and then just this darker berry color for the petals and a brighter yellow for the center of the flower. And I didn't have a ton of this color left, so I also used that berry color for the toe. I think these are super cute. I did 64 stitches for the cuff and then 60 stitches for the foot to get a better fit for my friend. Hopefully she'll be able to get them over her feet. But yeah, I think these turned out really cute. Still loving the Colorwork Cuff Club. I think whatever pattern ends up being for April, I'll probably knit those for my other friend if I think they'll be suitable for her. And then I'll be able to give these to them when we go over there in a couple months. So yeah, really cute. And then here's the tiny version. I didn't do any color work. I just used the same yarn and did the little pop toe. So really cute. I'm not trying to torture myself by doing tiny color work. I'm just keeping those pretty simple. So yeah, lots of fun socks this month. Okay, next is a hat. And this one is, I'm not entirely happy with it, but I'll talk through it. So let me just show you. Here it is. This is the Iris hat by Tren Annalie. And the reason I knit this is because I would love to knit the Iris pullover that they released last year, which is this same motif in a drop all over in a drop shoulder pullover. And I love that they then released the hat because you could knit the hat in the yarns you want to use for your sweater to make sure you like the palette, check your gauge, all of those kind of things. So I spent I think I talked about this on my last podcast. I spent way too long trying to figure out what colors I wanted to use for this, and these were the colors that I landed on. And I'm like 99% happy with these. So I love the brim color, which on the sweater would be like all of the ribbing, is this really pretty marl. I love the background color, which is Seraphim. And sorry, these are all Knit Picks palette, which is a 100% wool fingering weight yarn from Knit Picks that comes in like a million different colors. And they had all these kind of dusty, cool colors that I was looking for. I love the dark burgundy here. This one I mixed on. I might replace this. I think it might be a little too dark. I like these. The ones I'm sure I want to replace though are this kind of ruby color. I think it's just too dark. I would prefer like more of a lighter kind of a raspberry color, even like something like this. I think that might be a little too warm, but it would help to lighten that up a bit. And then this color here is just a very small position, and I don't love how warm that is, so I might even just use this color there, or the background color. Not 100% sure about that yet, but I just feel like this band here is like too dark. Like I said, I really like this dark kind of burgundy color here and in this kind of diamond shape, but I think when you combine it with that garnet red, it's just too dark compared to how kind of light this is, but I am pretty pleased with it. So now I know. I like how this yarn washes up. I think it would be really nice in the jumper. It's really soft. I think for me, this is definitely like next to skin. It's much softer than this. And what else? The hat doesn't fit the best. So my gauge was a little bit off is one thing that I learned. I was hoping to knit the beanie version, and it's definitely longer than that. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna do with it yet. At this point, I'm just kind of hanging on to it and treating it like a big swatch for my sweater. But I learned a lot about this yarn, the colors I want to use, because you know, you can spend so long planning your colors, but when you actually knit them up, like you learn different things. Like this wasn't the exact right color match, and maybe it was too dark anyway. So yeah, I'm really glad I knit it. I do think it's pretty. I think it's like almost there for the palette I want to use for the sweater, but not quite. So love that they released this as a way to like test that out. It's a really cool idea. So yes, I still want to knit the sweater. I think right now is not the right time to cast it on, so I'm kind of setting this aside for now, but I'm sure that I will want to revisit this in the fall. So, or maybe, who knows, I might get the sudden urge to cast it on next week. You never know, but my plan for right now is to revisit this sweater in the fall. So that's the iris hat. And last but not least, I have one more finished sweater. So my cousin was knitting her first sweater. She's still working on hers this winter. We started it in the winter, and I decided to knit one along with her to kind of help her through the process and just for fun. And that was the linen sweater by K. And I did go ahead and finish mine. She's still working on her sleeves, but I got antsy and I wanted to finish mine, so I did. And here it is. So sorry, it's a little wrinkly. It's been folded out for a couple weeks, but it's this gorgeous burgundy color. It's a very basic drop shoulder sweater. So the back has this nice raglan detail or drop shoulder detail. It has a double folded neckband. Very classic, but it fits really well. I'll put a video in of me wearing it here while I'm talking about the yarn. This is a yarn that I picked up also at Indie Untangled last year. And this is from North Bay Fiber. This is their Journey base. It's 100% American Romney wool. And the color is, this is the Aran version, and the color is Early Maple. So it is just this gorgeous, dark, reddy brown kind of color. It's looking a little more yellow on screen. In real life, it's a little bit more purpley, like blue. I really like it. I will say it's similar to this yarn, actually. It has a beautiful luster and drape, but it is kind of itchy. So the neckline is pretty tight fitting, which I think looks really good, but with it being on the itchier side, I definitely will have to be careful with how I wear it. I think I need to wear it when I'm in like a very cold environment. If it gets to the point where I feel like I'm not wearing it because of how close the neckline is, I will take the neckline out and redo it. I actually picked up fewer stitches than the pattern recommended because it seemed like the pattern neckline with the recommended amount of stitches was going to be very wide. It was not like a pickup ratio that I was accustomed to, so I kind of just went with what I knew based on other patterns, and I love the look of it, but with this yarn it might be too close, so I'll have to reevaluate that as time goes on and I get to wear it a little bit more. But I think it looks great. I love the length. You can definitely see like here my dye lots were like slightly different, but it really does not bother me at all. I think it's really beautiful. Yeah, sorry, it's been all folded up. But I think it's really beautiful. I would knit another one for sure. I think it's a great kind of staple pattern. I would definitely recommend it. And it was fun to knit this along with my cousin and be able to help her through the process. So yeah, I've got 2 lustrous, shiny, finished Aran weight projects. So it's just funny. I haven't knit a lot of like Aran weight projects with this type of yarn, and I just happened to knit 2 of them in 1 month. So yeah, happy to have this one finished. Probably won't get too much more wear out of it this year, but I did get to wear it to work a couple times, and I can see myself wearing it a lot, especially around the holidays. Like I think it's a really great color for that next year. So that is it for finished objects. Let's move on to works in progress. Okay, so like I said, I have about 8 or 9 whips to share with you today. So I'll try and go through them reasonably quickly, but please feel free to leave any questions you may have about these below, and I'll try and share all the really important information. So let's start with socks, shall we? In my gorgeous Line Study Textiles bag that I picked up at Indie Untangled, this is an Indie Untangled heavy episode today, which I should say I am actively trying to work through my stash, just because I want to use up all the beautiful stuff I've already bought. I'm not doing a yarn ban or anything, but I mean, as I said, I have some acquisitions today, but I am trying to use what I've already purchased. So you'll hear me referring to things I already bought many times. Sorry, I clearly did not silence my computer. Okay. Doing this once a month, I feel like I get completely out of practice every time, so please forgive me. In my Line Study Textiles bag, I have my kind of on-the-go sock project for the moment, which are a pair of socks I'm knitting for Troy. This is the yarn. Really fun kind of black and white speckle. This I bought also at the Michigan Fiber Fest last year, and the yarn company is You Socksy Thing, which is very funny. Or sorry, that's the base. The company is Pearl Talk. And this is an interesting blend. It's a merino tencel nylon. So it has kind of a cool hand from that tencel, which I thought would be really good for Troy because he gets hot. So it's 75% superwash merino, 15% nylon, 10% tencel. And I am just knitting him a pair of basic vanilla socks with this. So I have finished the first one. I think it looks super fun, kind of spooky. I'm calling these his like spooky Halloween socks. And the second one, I am currently working on the heel flap. So not too much to show yet, but I am sure these will be a finished object next time. And I'm just knitting my vanilla sock recipe, top down, 2x2 cuff. I think for him, these are 56 stitches, but I'm knitting them on a 2.5 millimeter needle, where usually I would do 60 stitches on a 2.25. So at one point I cast on like 100 pairs of socks and I ran out of needles, so that's why they're like that. All right, next up. Okay, this one's exciting. I've been putting this off for ages. So I've mentioned over and over again how I've been trying or, thinking about designing a pair of like a sock set with a couple different designs for like years at this point that are inspired by coneflowers. So I finally revisited this in the past month, but I hit a bit of a stopping point, and I just wanted to explain where I'm at in the process with this. So before, many months ago, last time I worked on this project, I had kind of written up the pattern for what is the most simple pair of socks in this set. So my vision is that there will be 3 different designs in this pattern set. One will be an all over colorwork motif of a coneflower. It's 2 colors, but it could be more. The second will be, and that'll be like a longer leg. The second will be like a 3 to 4 inch leg, which just has colorwork on the cuff and then a plain foot. And then the last one is gonna be more of a shorty, so probably only like a 2 inch ankle. And it just has a small colorwork motif around the cuff and the toe. So there's these like 3 different patterns, and I had written up the pattern for the shorty version. And let me show you, I had written that pattern up months ago, like at least 6 months ago, if not more, and like printed it out, and I was ready to like knit up the sample. So I kind of took that back out and I was like, all right, let me read through this again. Let me make some updates, which I did. And I was like, all right, let's knit it and see how it goes. So I did that. Let me show you the yarns first, actually. So I picked these up at the Wool Gathering 2023. So that tells you how long ago I had this in my mind. And these to me are the perfect coneflower colors. So the perfect purple petals is this, which is, if I can find the ball again, it is from Behind the Pines hand-dyed yarns. It is their Emma fingering base. It's a 90 superwash merino 10% nylon blend, and the color is called Berry Burst. So yeah, it's just that perfect bright pinky purple. And then for the center of the coneflower, I wanted a really vibrant rusty orange. I found this one, which I thought was perfect, and that is from Allegheny Fiber Arts out of Bradford, Pennsylvania. And it's the same blend, and the colorway is Rust. So using those 2 colors, I went ahead and knit up the cuff of this pattern as I had written it so long ago. And here it is. So you can see it has the rust color as the cuff, and it is a 1x1 twisted rib. And then there's just the smallest amount of color work here that kind of mimics the shape of that like center cone of the flower. And then the foot will all be the purple, and then the toe will have this color work as well and go into the rust for the toe. So this is definitely the most simple pair, but somehow it's been a very tricky pattern to write. So I wanted the twisted rib, the knit stitches, to continue into the colorwork columns. I've also gone back and forth about if this is enough color work and if it's impactful enough. So I do want this to be the most simple pair, but I'm wondering if this needs to extend down a little bit more or be more impactful in some way. So I'd love your feedback on that. If you think I should make the colorwork portion a little bit more dramatic, a little bit bigger, have it come down further. And the other thing is, I was initially back in the day only planning to offer these in one size, like 64 stitches, because the pattern will be released for free. But personally, this is the 64 stitches size, and I can't get this over my heel because I've learned in the past year that for colorwork and socks, I need to go up to 72 stitches and then size back down after I knit the colorwork to be able to get it on. So I would like to be able to wear my own pattern, and I would like other people to be able to wear it. So I paused at this point, and I'm going to rework the pattern to include 3 sizes, and then I'm going to reknit this with the larger size for the colorwork. Because, you know, there's really no rush for this. I don't need to, I'm not on a deadline or anything. And I want to make it the best it can be, even though it's going to be a free pattern. I still want it to be well written and have lots of great options. So I'm going to take another pass at the pattern and reknit this portion. And then hopefully that one of the 3 patterns will be good, and I can move on to writing the second one. So yeah, I am really excited about it. I think the color combo is great. It is a medium contrast, you know. I mean, they are both really bright colors that are similar in value, but the colors are obviously different. So I think these are going to be really pretty. I'm excited. Would love your feedback on the motif. If you think it should be more dramatic or if you like how subtle it is, please let me know. But yeah, excited to be returning to this project, but more work to be done for this pair. All right. Next is a fun one. I'm excited about this. So I decided to participate in Andrea Mallory's March to May knit along, and I'm going to be doing a shawl. I did this last year as well. I knit the melt shawl last year, which is a really fun DK weight shawl. I'd really recommend it if you want a quicker knit shawl. But this year I had a lot of fun going into my stash and pulling out 7 different skeins of sock yarn to use to make the Find Your Fade shawl. So I'll put a picture here of my palette. So these are my 7 colors. It's gonna kind of fade from this like blue-gray into these like neutrally pinks, like a berry color, into purple, and then into pink and orange at the other end. And I would say I have just started the 4th color. So I faded in the 4th color and I'm just now starting to knit that section. So also I can put a picture of the shawl here as well. It's really, really pretty. On my Knitting Mistakes podcast episode, or you know, Friday Fiber Chat, I did talk about this project because I have made a mistake on it, and I'll briefly share that with you here as well. Make sure I'm showing you the right side. Yes, okay. It's kind of hard to show, but here, oh gosh, yeah, this is gonna be impossible to show. Here it is. So I started down here. This is one that's going to really transform with blocking. So I started down here with this kind of solid gray, and the shawl alternates garter and lace sections. So then I faded in my 2nd color, which was a perfect fade for this. So this color is a mix of that like blue-gray and the pink. So fading those was really nice. Now the mistake is in this section, this garter section, once I transitioned fully to this color, I misread an instruction, and instead of having 14 garter rows, like garter bumps, I only have 7. So I'm missing about an inch of length in this section, and my stitch count is not quite right. And I'm kind of getting to the point now where I need to figure out how I'm gonna resolve that, because the way that you increase kind of changes. So I am needing to figure that out now. Haven't done that yet, but I will be soon. So from this color, I faded into this really pretty kind of neutrally warm, toasty color. And then from there, whoop, I really need to put needle stoppers on this. I've just faded into this kind of berry color. So I can also put a picture in here of this laid out flat so you can see like what the fade is looking like and the next colors that are going to be coming in. It is fingering weight, so it's a little bit slow going, but it is really fun to knit. It is so enjoyable, like the fading, the garter, I love all of that. And the lace sections are very simple, so it's not like I get tripped up on the lace sections. It's mostly garter. I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely getting, I think at this point, it's the widest it's going to be, or it stays pretty, so it increases and then it kind of stays consistent and then maybe it increases again. I'm not sure, but I think it kind of increases and then stays straight. So never like a ton of stitches on the needles. I'm really enjoying it. I need to make sure I'm consistently working on it if I want to finish it by the end of May, but I don't think it should be too much of a problem. So really enjoying it. Let me know if you're participating in the March to May knit along. I'd love to hear what you're working on. I know a couple of you are, so that's really exciting. I'd love to hear progress update on your project. All right, should we move on to sweaters? I have so many garment projects right now. First one is one I haven't showed in a while, but I also showed this one on my Knitting Mistakes, but I've corrected that, so I won't go too much into it here today. I pulled out my Bergman pullover by Caitlin Hunter. I'm obsessed with this yoke. I love it. I think it looks fantastic. The yarns I'm using, the main color, this kind of purpley gray, is BFL, it's Cascade BFL, and it's 100% Blue Face Luster. The color is color 4, not on the ball band, but it's a really pretty, oh, there's a little fluff on there, pretty cool light gray. And my contrast color is Spin Cycle, and I cannot for the life of me remember the name of this colorway. I apologize. I initially bought this to make the, oh gosh, what's it called? Andrea Mallory's Rhinebeck sweater last year, the like quilt block one, but I didn't end up loving knitting that pattern, so kind of pivoted to make this instead. I think the contrast here is so good, so I love this. I've knit the body, and I've now knit the color work on the bottom of the body, which does not want to lay flat. I think this is going to be another one that really benefits from blocking. And I kind of went back and forth about adding the color work to the body, but I'm glad that I did. I think it looks really fun. So the bind off here is interesting. So you knit X amount of ribbing, 2x1 rib, then you knit 1 row of just knit stitches, and then you bind off. And what that causes is the bind off to kind of roll to the front. So you can see it almost looks like an I-cord bind off, which is kind of a nice detail. I didn't originally notice that in the pattern photos, but when I went back and looked, it is there. So like I said, I think this one's really gonna need a good block, but I think she's looking really, really cute. And I'm excited to move on to the sleeves, get this all blocked out, and again, not be able to wear it till next winter, but I think it's gonna be a special piece. My Alpine Bloom by Caitlin Hunter is, to this day, one of my favorite garments that I've knit because it's just so striking, and I think this one has that same quality. Like, it just really is impactful. Yeah, I'll give you a little close-up of the yoke there. Super fun pattern. I love Caitlin Hunter's designs. Did you guys see the like big bubble crop she just released? That it's so cute. But I go back and forth between being like, do I hate it? And like, do I love it? So that probably means I'm not sure, but it's really fun. I don't know how those baubles are made. They're so huge. I kind of want to buy the pattern just to like see how she did it, but I'm curious about it. I think it would be really fun to knit it in that fluffy wandering flock yarn. So anyway, a little aside there. Next up is my midland cardigan. So I have finished the body on this. This is the yarn I'm using. It is, let me find the ball band. Sonder Yarn Co.'s Sunday Morning DK. It's 75% BFL, 25% Masham, and the color is Rom-Com. So yeah, this is my first time using this yarn. I definitely get the hype. It is gorgeous, and I love this color. So yeah, I finished the body. How to show it? There, okay. Yes. Why doesn't that side want to stay open? Okay, yeah, finished the body. I knit the ribbing, and I kind of paused on it because I can't decide. So the pattern recommends a tubular bind off, like a sewn bind off, and I ended up just doing a regular bind off because that's what I usually do. But this is one case where I feel like it might really benefit from the sewn bind off, and I might go back and redo my bind off. So here's my bind off. I think it looks okay. It's pretty clean, but something about this cardigan and just how nice all the finishes are, how crisp it's all gonna be, it's kind of making me want to do the sewn bind off. Would love to hear your feedback on that as well. Do you think I should redo it? You know, I think it looks fine. Like, probably no one else would ever notice that except for me, but I don't know, part of me wants to do the fancy bind off. So let me know what you think about that. I'm loving the color. It's so good. This yarn is so soft. This is so enjoyable to knit. I can definitely see myself knitting another one. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the sleeves. And I'm planning to knit mine flat. So the pattern gives a little bit of guidance on how to do that, but basically I'm just going to pick up starting at the underarm and knit back and forth, and then I'll seam the underarm, which I did also do the seamed version for the body. So I did go ahead and do that. I didn't block it. I know that makes me a bad knitter, but that's what I did. And you can see it's like pretty seamless looking at the side seam there. So very pleased with that. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and knit the sleeves, and then I'll decide if I want to go back and redo the bind off before I move on to the button band. So yeah, loving this. So very squishy. Oh, fibers in my nose. Oh dear Lord. Okay. Oh, I don't even know where that came from. Okay. I'm sorry. Really enjoying it. Can't recommend it enough. The pattern's by Laura Penrose. It's excellent, super size inclusive, really fun to knit. Yeah, I can definitely already see another one in my future. I think like a scrappy one would be really fun. But yeah, I don't know if I have any other yarns in my stash right now that would be good for this, but I could definitely see I have some ideas for a future one, so stay tuned. Okay, next is the Miles shirt jacket. So I made some pretty good progress on this, and I finished the like yoke kind of portion. So here it is. I have finished the back and both fronts, and I even joined in the round and knit an inch or so, actually more than I thought, a couple inches of body. So this is the Miles shirt jacket by Ozetta. It is a really fun pattern. I'm knitting mine with New to Den Held Double. I don't know the colorway name. I got this from a D-stash, but it's this beautiful like dark steely blue gray. And I am not gonna have enough yarn. Officially, I am not gonna have enough yarn to finish it. So the plan is I knit a couple inches here basically until it hit me like right at my natural waist. This armhole is very deep because it's meant to be worn as more of like an outerwear piece. So it's kind of hitting me like right at my natural waist. I went ahead and stopped it there. I'm going to knit the sleeves in this color. And then I think I'm probably gonna have to order another yarn. So my tentative plan is to order Manchalope or another unspun yarn in a navy blue, or like a charcoal gray I also think would be really pretty. And I'll knit the rest of the body with that because it is meant to be fairly long. And I will also knit the button band and the collar in that color. So it'll kind of be framing this. And then the pockets I had already knit in this color. So I will see what that looks like with the patch pockets in the different color on top of the darker color. If I don't like that, I'll just reknit the pockets in the darker color. But yeah, she's gonna be a little color blocked moment, which I do actually think could be really cool and kind of different. But yeah, definitely not gonna have enough yarn to finish her in this color. So we'll see. I'm pretty confident that I have enough to finish both sleeves. Hopefully that will be fine, but gonna have to order another color to finish. Would love your feedback here as well. Do you think navy? Do you think dark gray? Let me know. I'm knitting size 4 in this one. Another great size inclusive pattern. Ozetta is a great size inclusive designer. Okay, and the next two, I think I had swatched for these in the previous episode, but I have made pretty good progress on them now. So the next one is a sweater I'm knitting for my partner Troy, and like I can show you the swatch again. I had these two yarns kicking around in stash that I knew I wanted to use for him, and I decided to swatch them together in a kind of marl, and really liked how that turned out. So I just swatched this on a 4mm needle and then went in Ravelry, searched my gauge, and found a pattern that matched my gauge. And the pattern I'm using is called Wrong Side. It's by Maxim Sear. I can put a picture of it here. And it's knit inside out. So the wrong side of the sweater is meant to be on the outside. However, when I showed this to Troy, he was not into that. So I'm knitting the wrong side, but make it right side. So I'm knitting mine right side out, but I'm using all these numbers. I'm using, you know, everything else from the pattern. I'm just altering it to be knit right side out instead of wrong side out. So, and that was just, I wanted to do that because I knew my gauge was right. I knew these numbers would be right. And I love Max's patterns. I knit the old-fashioned cardigan for Troy last year, and it fits perfectly, and he loves that. So I knew this would fit well, and I'm excited. So let me show you what I have. I finished the yoke. Yay! I think it looks great. I did decide to keep the stripy neckline. I was kind of on the fence with that, but I did decide to keep that in the separate colors, and I think that's a really nice detail with the marl. These yarns, the neutral is Rowan Felted Tweed. The color is Stone, but it's a strange color. It's kind of like a greenish tan. And then the navy is just Barocco Lannis in the color navy, Barocco Lannis light. Yeah, I think the marl's so nice looking. I'm trying to think what changes I made to knit it right side out. Really, whenever it was an instruction to do something wrong, like inside out, I just did the opposite. So like the neckband, I also did add jogless stripes, and I did that little trick where you, every time you change color, you knit a row so you don't get those purl bumps. That's not written in the pattern, but I did make that change on my version. I think it looks really nice and clean. And then the raglan, it's pretty subtle, but there's like 2 knit stitches and a purl stitch. So there's a little bit of a ditch for the purl stitches there. Yeah, it was really enjoyable. Something about this yarn combo I'm really liking. It's definitely, you can feel it. It has a little bit of tooth, but I think it'll be nice for him to wear like over a t-shirt, and his office gets super cold, and I think something like this will be great. He could just even leave it at the office. And I did throw it on over him the other day, and it's looking like it's gonna fit perfectly. So went ahead and split for sleeves, and I've just knit a couple rounds of the body, and we're gonna be cruising on this. I'm knitting size 4 for him, I believe. Yeah, I love how even the marl is. I think it looks really nice. So this has been a fun one. All right, last one. Also had a swatch for this last time, so I can show you that. I don't know who I am doing all these swatches lately. Oh, I had a failed swatch recently too. I can tell you about that in a second. So this was my swatch. I had these 2 summery yarns I wanted to use, and I wanted to use them together in some kind of stripe. And so that's what we're doing. And again, I did the same thing. I knit a swatch on 4mm needles, liked the fabric, and I just searched the gauge and found a pattern that matched. So I'm knitting the stripy VT, which you can see here. Who is the pattern designer? Let me see. This is by Hannah Singleton, and I'll put the picture in if I didn't already do that. I was kind of going back and forth about if I wanted to knit even stripes like this or a more kind of random stripe, because the pattern calls for about 800 yards of yarn, and I have that much, but I have more. I have an even amount. It's like 400 and 400 of each color. And if I went this route, I'd be using way more of the berry color than the light purple. So that wasn't really gonna work out. So I decided to kind of do a random stripe. So I'm using an 8-sided die to kind of determine how many stripes I will do. So when it's time to switch colors, I'm rolling the die, and I'm only doing even numbers. So I'll roll until I get an even number, and this only goes up to 8, as I said. And then I'll knit that many, and I'm kind of trying to keep track of how many rows of each color I've done, just to make sure they're like relatively even in the grand scheme of things. This one's a little bit harder to show. I haven't done as much work on it, but here's where we're at. And it's a V-neck, so it's not joined in the front yet. But you can see we're getting some fun striping here. This is also a raglan. And I think I'm really liking it so far. A little heavier on the light purple so far. Here's the back. But I think it's gonna be really cute. The yarns are really fun together. They feel really nice at this gauge. I think it'll be a great little summer top. So just working through the raglan now. It also has very minimal finishings, which is kind of nice for a summer pattern. So, you know, once you get through the raglan and the yoke on this one, it's gonna be pretty smooth sailing and pretty quick. So yeah, So fun, my first kind of spring summer knit. I guess this one kind of defies category because it's an Aran weight, but it's the summery silhouette. So I'm calling this a spring knit. I'm calling that a spring knit. So excited to get into those. Very quickly, I'll touch on my failed swatch. So, oh, and one other thing. Andrea Mowry just released her Everyday Cardi, and every time I saw it, I was like, yeah, I probably want to knit that. And I had some cotton merino blend yarn that's a little bit of a mystery yarn in my stash. I got it on a D stash, so I don't exactly know what it is. I estimated it to be between a sport and a DK weight. So I tried to swatch for that cardigan with that yarn, and I could just tell right away it was not gonna work. It wasn't super comfortable to knit at that small of a gauge, and my gauge was gonna be way too big. So kind of just scrapped that idea. Don't really have anything else in the stash that would be a good fit for that cardigan, so I'd still love to knit it someday, but kind of putting it on the back burner for now. But you know, that's an example where I'm glad I tried it in a swatch first, so I could see right away that it wasn't gonna work, and just kind of moved on and kind of got it out of my system. One other thing, I have this year so far every month shown you a quilt block that I'm working on for my 2025 memory quilt, and I haven't done the one for March yet, so I'll have to show you that one in next month's episode. I have some ideas, just kind of ran out of time to get to it this month, so I'm still doing that, just didn't get to this month's yet. All right, that's it for whips. Let's move on to acquisitions and chat. Okay, so as I said, I'm trying to focus on using up my stash, but I do have a few fun acquisitions to share with you today. And the first one is something that I knew right at the beginning of the year I was going to be signing up for a couple clubs this year. One is a fiber club, which I did receive for March. It's the Kira Wiggins Fiber Club, and I don't have that with me today, so I apologize, but I'll have to show that on the next episode. It's really pretty, kind of chocolatey brown with some sparkle and some teal and purple this month. I might have a picture I could put in here, so I did get that. Really excited to spin that one up. And the other one is the Wandering Flock Sock Club, and I was like beyond excited about this. So I did get the first box this month, and I am obsessed. So let me show you. The yarn is gorgeous. It is this perfect light pink with these spots of like a neon, like, I don't even know. It's an orange, but it's like a sherbety color to me, like an orange sherbet. So pretty. And this base is amazing. So I've never tried this before, but it is a 50% extra fine merino, 30% baby alpaca, and 20% nylon. And this is their sock base, which I've never used a sock base that had an alpaca in it, I don't think. Yeah, so it's 100 grams. They call it a sport weight yarn, so it's 400 yards for 100 grams. And the colorway is called, I'm not sure if it's Kilo, yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but it is gorgeous. And then that came with a pattern as well, so I'll put a picture of that here, designed by Sari Nordland, my fave. Love the pattern. I cannot wait to start knitting these. I was very disciplined and I didn't cast these on yet, so, but I will be casting them on like today or tomorrow probably. And that also came with a couple little gifts. So it came with this really cute little holographic sweater sticker and a Wandering Flock Sock Club pin, which has these cute little guys on it. So love that. Can't wait to knit those. Can't wait for the next one. Love everything about it. Okay, next I had a lingering Michaels gift card from Christmas, and I was like, I just need to spend this because I keep forgetting about it. So I went on their website and I ended up ordering 2 balls of Patton's Croy to make socks for Troy. It rhymes. Croy for Troy. And this color is called Eclipse, which is perfect because he loves all things astrological, astronomical. I don't know why I always get those two backwards. Astronomical. Yeah, it's just really pretty, mostly neutrally grays, but there's a bit of like a blue. Yeah, so those will be nice for him. Just wanted to spend that gift card. And then last but not least, actually I have another box of yarn that came from Knit Picks, which I'm not going to show today. because I'm going to talk all about those in my next Friday fiber chat. Troy and I are expecting our first niece, which we're very excited about. So I'm kind of doing like a little knit capsule wardrobe for baby so that they can have a couple little things to wear this fall. So, and that's what those yarns are for. So in my next Friday fiber chat, I'm going to talk all about that and what patterns I'm going to knit, what yarns I'm using. So look forward to that in the next Friday fiber chat. But the last thing I'm sharing with you today is a really exciting order I got from the Woolly Thistle, and I wanted to share this with you because I am now a Woolly Thistle affiliate. So if you are interested in purchasing anything from the Woolly Thistle, they have such an amazing selection of woolly wools, those like natural wools, a lot of European wools, and their house yarn, which I'll share with you in a minute. But yeah, I do have an affiliate link in the box below if you're interested in purchasing from them. It doesn't change anything about your purchase or experience, but if you use my link, I get a little bit of a commission. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps support the channel. So please consider using that if you're interested, but of course, no pressure. Let me show you what I got. So as part of the affiliate program, I received for free, so these were gifted, 2 skeins of their house yarn Rambler, which is inspired by their love for British breeds and sourced from American wools within the Southern Adirondack Fiber Producers Cooperative. So it's spun in New York State. It is a 3-ply 100% wool yarn, and they recommend it for socks, which is what I'm going to use it for. So it is 80% Dorset, 10% Corriedale, and 10% Gray Romney. So let me just show you my colors. And you can see that gray wool, it gives it like a really pretty depth of color. The colors are Wild Clover and Cinnamon Fern. I'm going to use these for my coneflower socks for a second version. So I have those really pretty bright purple and rusts that I showed you, but I would love to also knit a pair or two in these more natural colors. I think there are also purple coneflower or pink coneflowers similar to this shade that are really pretty. So I'm going to also use these for that design and just give them a little love. So thank you so much to the Woolly Thistle for providing these. I'm really excited to use them for my design. I think the yarn is gorgeous. It's really bouncy and squishy. It has a little toot to it, but I think for like, if you like a woolly, like non-superwash sock, I think these are gonna be amazing. And, you know, it's funny, I've knit so many socks at this point, but I have found that when I'm really cold and I want my socks for warmth, it's the non-superwash socks that I always reach for because they provide the most warmth. And I think these are going to be an amazing pair. So really excited to work with these. In addition to that, I purchased the following yarns for my From a Book Mal, which Yana from Finished Knitting Stories is hosting, and also going to be entering this project for Mackenzie and Tim from Sibling Energies. Oh gosh, what is it called? Bucket List Mal. And it is the Gramercy Cardigan by Emma. I'm sorry if I'm gonna mispronounce this. Emma, it's Ducher, I'm not sure. But it is this amazing intarsia cardigan from Pom Pom magazine. This is from issue autumn 2022. And I have loved this design ever since it came out. So it has a little bit of a cable detail. It's actually here on the back, a little bit of a cable detail, and then it has these really fun intarsia panels. And I decided to knit this in Let Lopi, which I have never tried before. And I'm really excited to try. Definitely gonna be more of an outerwear piece in this yarn. I'm sure it's got longer fibers. It's gonna be more like this, where it's got maybe a little bit of a prickle to it, but I think I'll be wearing it over a dress or a t-shirt or something. So let me show you the colors because I am changing them up a little bit. So my main color is gonna be this, which is very similar to the main color in the book. This is, oh gosh, I'm not gonna be able to pronounce any of these color names. I think it's shade 54. It is a light heather gray. In hand, I really don't think this yarn feels too bad to me. I know people, I've heard mixed things. Some people love this yarn, only want to knit with this. Some people are like, I could never wear that. It is a single ply. So yeah, I'm just really interested to try it. And then my contrast colors are going to be a darker charcoal, creamy white, pink, of course, wouldn't be me without pink. I've also got a deeper red, how to hold all of these. And then last but not least, there's kind of a neutrally brown. So those are gonna be my contrast colors. And I've kind of figured out where they're all gonna go, and I'm really excited about that. So I don't know, I wanna cast that on right away, but I also feel like it's going to be very warm and we're going into the warmer months. So might end up being like an early fall, late summer kind of cast on. Not exactly sure, but yeah, Let Low Be, also from the Woolly Thistle. Excited to try. So those are all of my acquisitions. I'll try and keep the chat a little short because I feel like I've been going for like forever already, but things have been good here. Everything's starting to green up. We spent last weekend getting all of our flower beds mulched. Really excited to plant some things again soon. Probably got another month or so. Usually around the beginning of May is when we can really start planting things like in the garden boxes, but I'm excited about that. It definitely feels like spring is in the air. The past few weeks have been very nice and warm, but it also means we're gonna have a week straight of rain now. And that's just kind of how it goes. In the next month, I'm kind of giving myself a spring break. I'm taking a week off in April, and half of that time I'm gonna be going to Chicago with my sister for a little trip. So really excited about that. May or may not visit 1 or 2 yarn stores while I'm there. I'm honestly not sure yet. We'll see. I'm not prioritizing it, but if it happens, it happens. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Nothing too crazy other than that going on. Did a really fun crafting thing yesterday though. So a couple of our local independently owned movie theaters have started doing a like craft at the movies kind of thing. So for the past like 4 or 6 weeks, I think, on Saturday at noon, they were showing a movie where they would leave the house lights up and everyone could come and like bring something to work on. So yesterday I went to that with my mom and sister, and the movie was Bridesmaids, which is great. At first I was like, oh, I wish they would show like a new movie, but really it's more of a social event. So like showing a movie that most people have probably already seen, I think is the way to go, because there's not as much pressure for everyone to be like silently watching the movie. Like it's more about the community and just like being there together. So it was so fun. I hope they keep doing it. And if they do, I think we'll definitely go again. So yeah, if you're interested, I actually was thinking about starting an event like this, so happily someone else already did it. But yeah, if you would love to go to an event like that, reach out to your local independent movie theater, or maybe it already exists in your area. Just look it up, you know, see what you can find. But yeah, it was super fun. Highly recommend. So I think that is all I have today. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe the video. It really helps out the channel. And if you want reminders when new videos are posted, you can also click the bell icon. Please do leave me a comment. Let me know if you're participating in any of these knit alongs or what you think about my socks. I love to chat with you all in the comments. So thank you for being here, and I will see you on the next Friday Fiber Chat or in a month from now for the next regular podcast episode. And I hope you get lots of crafting time in between now and then. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.